Today we're at the Malakoff Housing Authority, and we're going to be speaking to this individual here in front of the camera. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is your name?
My name is Mark Muehl,
What is your age?
66.
Mr. Muehl, where do you reside?
I live at 307 Terry Plaza, Malakoff, Texas, 75148.
Okay. And is that a
Malakoff
house?
Malakoff Housing Authority.
Okay. Are you willfully being recorded or is someone forcing you today?
I'm just being recorded.
You want to be?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you disabled?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you been disabled, if you don't mind me asking?
Stop the thing.
Has it been over?
It's at least 25, almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years you've been disabled. Okay.
Yes,
And I see you're sitting on a walker.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that tells me that you use a walker. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you feel that you're being discriminated against?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you feel the person that is discriminated against you, could you elaborate on that? Or
She's the manager of the apartment complex.
is it just the manager or is it the manager and the assistant manager?
Both.
Okay. My next question is I do see you have some paperwork in your hand.
Yes, ma'am.
And that, if you don't mind telling me, what is that, a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that statement from you? I do see it says Mr. Mark Muehl, and your address and phone number and everything is on there.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct? Did you write that statement?
Yes, ma'am.
You did. Okay. And I see your signature is on here.
Yes, ma'am.
You did sign that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you willfully write that, or did someone make you?
I willfully wrote it.
You willfully wrote it. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit of it if that's okay with you. You said, I am Mr. Muehl, Mark Muehl. I live at the Malakoff Housing Authority. Mr. Jackson and I are neighbors. I live in 307 next door. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a very quiet and peaceful area. All the neighbors are kind and they will assist us when they see us because Mr. Jackson and I are on walkers. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you've lived at the Malakoff Housing Authority a little bit over 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
You're an Army veteran.
Yes, ma'am.
And you did state in this letter that you are disabled.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said here a little while back that you had bed bugs, and you notified the manager, Arkita Dow, and they sent someone out.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
and I was told they were going to inspect and exterminate my neighbors attached to me too.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you tell her about your bed bug infestation?
I went to the office and told her.
You went into the office and you told her.
Face
Okay.
to face.
You told her face to face. So you do know how to report
Yes, ma'am.
a bit for treatment for
Yes,
pests.
ma'am.
Okay. And when you told her about the infestation, how long do you think about it took her to treat?
At least a couple of weeks.
It took her 2 weeks to get an exterminator in?
I believe so.
About 2 weeks? So how did you live with those bed bugs for 2 weeks with
I
nothing?
just live with it.
You just lived with it. So it took her 2 weeks to get you an exterminator into your apartment to
Yes,
treat.
ma'am.
Wow. And it says here you were told that they were going to exterminate your neighbors too.
Yes, ma'am.
And how was that stated to you?
She told me they were going to exterminate all this block because of everybody.
Really? And there's how many units? 4
4 units.
4 units on your line here.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were told that all 4 units were going to
Yes,
be
ma'am.
exterminated.
That was my understanding.
Okay. And then you later found out that didn't happen, is what you're saying in this
Right.
letter. Okay. After your apartment was exterminated, you returned to your apartment. It was left in shambles. You had 2 inches of fluid on your floor, which was a fire hazard for you. And you couldn't stay there with the smell because it says here you're on oxygen at night.
Yes, ma'am.
So did that chemical smell? Because I see here you said you couldn't stay there with the smell.
Chemical smell.
So that smell bothered you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It says I paid for a hotel out of my own pocket. I asked Arkita about reimbursement and she said no.
Yes, ma'am.
She told you no.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I found out my elderly neighbor, Mr. Jackson, later got bed bugs and it really bothered me. I told him the weird thing is that I didn't have the problem till the people on the other side of me moved out.
Yes,
So the
ma'am.
people on the other side of you do they share a wall with you?
Yes, ma'am.
They do. Okay. So you think maybe that they had bed bugs, and when they moved out, how do you think the bed bugs got in your apartment?
Through the walls.
Through the walls. So you are aware that bed bugs can come through walls.
Yes, ma'am.
Man, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because some people don't think they can, obviously. Okay.
I mean, I've talked to people about that, and they told me they can travel.
Oh,
They
wow.
don't have to travel from me to somebody else. They can get home to you and move, but they can also travel through walls and stuff.
Oh, wow. And he says here, he and I figured out that didn't happen. His daughter discovered that bed bugs travel through plugs, lights, sockets, cracks, floors, even though management tried to say they had to be carried in. So you were told that as well. Okay. I was there when all of Mr. Jackson's furniture was carried out to the curb. Mr. Jackson ate his dinner outside in the yard because he couldn't go into his apartment. He was very concerned. I am aware of the bed bug infestation. I was told by Arkita not to talk to Mr. Jackson's daughter, Rhonda, because she was trying to cause trouble. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, ma'am. She told me not to talk to y'all by phone.
So she called you on your phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell me what was stated when she called?
I asked her what was going on. She said, you don't need to be talking to Rhonda or Mr. Jackson's daughter.
Wow.
Because she's starting to cause trouble.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm here to tell you, nobody tells me who I can talk to and who I can't talk to.
Yes, sir. I see you said that in your letter, too, that you saw it wasn't true because, as you stated here, you're just trying to help. So here, I needed to have my apartment treated with something else other than that chemical, too, but I didn't have anyone to advocate for me. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I know Arkita told the exterminators not to tell Rhonda anything because I overheard while on the porch one of the gentlemen from Terminex tell Rhonda that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's true, you heard that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know she didn't give us adequate notice on when the exterminator was coming and when we could count down from the 4 to 6 hours time frame to go home. So, you weren't even told when the people actually came, so you knew 4 to 6 hours time to go home?
We were supposed to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever, but they said I can't go home for 4 to 6 hours.
Oh, wow. And so it states in here, I had to call friends to come and help me put my bed and apartment back together. She is always saying she can't tell people stuff due to privacy. They gave me a letter of extermination notice with Mr. Jackson's name on it. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. Okay. So that kind of violated privacy. Is that not correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Veronica had to schedule an inspection at her dad's house just to get the information about what needed to be done to control the bed bugs. Arkita still didn't treat either of our units with a reasonable treatment for our issues till June the 10th. Is that correct? June
Yes,
10th,
ma'am.
2023. Okay. And here it states in here, Mr. Mark, it states, I asked her for a ceiling fan over my bed. There's a light fixture there because it would help me breathe better at night since I am on oxygen. She told me it's on back order. Can you elaborate on that?
That's what she told me.
So, how many times have you asked her for a fan?
At least 4.
You've asked her 4 times for a ceiling fan
Yes, ma'am.
over your
And
bed.
I offered to buy one.
So let me understand this. You offered to buy
A ceiling fan.
a ceiling fan.
Yes, ma'am. And she told me not to worry about it. It'll be taken care of.
She told you don't worry about it, it'll be taken care of.
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you asked about it, did you ask her again?
They're waiting on getting the other apartments that the people have moved out in, getting them ready for new tenants.
So let me make sure I understand this. Mr. Muehl, you were told to, basically what you're telling me is ceiling fan over your bed because you have a breathing from what you're telling me. You're told to deal with your breathing issue until the apartments are ready to go in order to get a fan over your
Yes,
bed that would help you and assist you with breathing.
Yes, ma'am.
Just wanted to make sure I understood that. That's okay. Have you gotten a fan yet?
Nope.
Do you know maybe about how long ago this was that you were told to wait?
Back during the summer.
So we're now in December. So let's say, let's see, summer is what month?
August. I think last time I talked to her about it was in June or July.
June or July? June, July. 4 months ago, and you still don't have a fan. Okay. Let's see here. I asked, could I buy my own? She said no. I went to the hospital. I gave my friends my key to get me some stuff. She said I couldn't give them my own key and they couldn't go into my apartment. What does that mean?
So I have to have them on a documented to where they can go in my apartment, although I give them permission, verbally give them permission to go in my apartment.
Wow.
Because they have the extra set of keys.
Wow. Okay. She told me I had to list my VA disability, which is not taxable income. I had been asking for an ADA toilet. It wasn't until I fell and hurt my hand that she finally got me a toilet. She told me she didn't see any blood on the toilet when I told I had fallen. She also told me the toilet wouldn't fit into my bathroom.
Yep. She said it wasn't big enough.
Your bathroom isn't big enough? Do you have a toilet now?
Yes, I do.
How many times did you have to ask for a toilet before you got one?
At least 4 times.
How, in that 4-time time frame that you asked for a toilet, just a recollection, how long do you think that took to get a toilet?
It took quite a while.
Did it take?
A few months.
When you say a few months, over 4 months?
Over 4 months.
So it took you over 4 months just to get a toilet, a handicap accessible toilet. And then you fell and hurt yourself before she finally did something.
The toilet seat slid off.
The toilet seat slid off of your old toilet.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you fell on the floor. Is that correct?
Ma'am.
How did you get up?
I pushed myself up.
Huh. Because you have issues walking. Is that correct?
I have my walker in front of me.
Wow.
Like I always do when I go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. And you had to kind of pull yourself up to try to get
I
up.
had the counter.
Do you have any grab bars or anything in your restroom? No. You have no.
The grab bars I have is over the tub.
Is your tub a walk-in tub?
No.
It's a high side tub?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you have problems crawling over, stepping over?
Sometimes.
Sometimes you have problems stepping over into that tub.
So I have to hold on to the handrail in order to get over it.
Okay. Then it states here, she called me on my phone and asked me if I called APS on her.
I told her I didn't.
She called you on your phone?
Yes, ma'am. And I told her no, I did not.
And she asked you
if I called Adult Protective Services on her, and I didn't.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I mean.
Okay.
I didn't do that.
After the last visit on July 10th, when Terminex came, the letter we had stated they were coming on July the 7th. The day before, she put a letter on the door that stated July 10th. Is this correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I left home for 4 to 6 hours. Her letter stated no one could go into the apartment until the office cleared it. Is that correct? Were you contacted?
No.
You were not contacted?
No, I had to call on my way home to find out if I could get in my apartment.
And what were you told?
I asked her, I thought I was supposed to be called. And she said, we didn't tell you that.
She said she didn't tell you that?
Yeah.
But you have a letter that states no one is to enter. Okay.
She said no one has to call me.
No one has to call you. Oh, okay.
And she also stated my apartment was filthy.
Really?
And I've got pictures.
Wow.
Of my apartment the date that she said it was filthy.
Wow. So I see here you said exactly what you just told me, because you said here I called to ask her if I could go home, and she said yeah. I said I thought someone was going to call. She said no one has to call you, and your apartment is filthy. Exactly what you just said in this statement, and you just verbally told me that. Okay. And you said my apartment wasn't filthy. I had paper on the table, and the bathroom floor had a stain from when they put the toilet in and didn't clean up behind themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
I am disabled on a walker. I cannot get up and down and mop or clean up after the plumber. I have pictures of my apartment. It is not dirty. I don't like the way me and my neighbors are treated. Just because we are elderly and disabled, we are still people, and we deserve respect too. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Muehl, so you did write that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then here is you attached a copy of this letter from July the 6th. I see here. I'm going to just stick this right here in front of the camera for a few minutes from July the 6th, it states no one is to be in the unit. And this was provided. Is that correct? So let me ask you guys another question, or you a quick question. You all, and did anyone force you to file any type of complaints or anything with HUD or anyone else? You
No,
wanted to, due to the treatment, is this something you wanted to do, was to
Yes,
file a complaint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and you witnessed the complaint for your neighbor, is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct? So I'm going to ask you this because according to the investigative report that I received back, I want to just ask you a few questions here that was stated that you said these things.
Yes, ma'am.
According to this report here, it says they are disabled according to witness testimony, and she's saying you're the witness, and have been tenant at the subject property for about 3 years. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They claim they are unaware of the procedure of how to request pest control.
Only time we have to call if we need not pest control, but get the maintenance to come out and fix our stuff.
Okay. So when you had your
But
bed
the only
bug,
time we have to get pest control is when she puts notification on the door
Mhm.
to let us know that pest control is coming out.
So when you had your bed bug issue with the bed bugs, you stated you did go to the office and
Yes,
tell them.
ma'am.
So you are aware if you have a situation where they're not coming to treat, you are aware of how to go and report
Yes,
the
ma'am.
issue. Okay. They stated that they sought bed bug treatment in their apartment about 1.5 years ago. Is that true?
That's about right.
So you're saying, have you had bed bugs since then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
When he got them,
So
when Mr. Jackson got them.
he got them in May of this year. So you didn't seek.
I had
I
bed bugs in my apartment.
I got it. So what you're saying is you didn't have to go and actually, because it says here sought. You didn't have to go and actually ask for the treatment. By him getting them, then they checked your unit and they
Right.
treated. But you're not saying you didn't have any bed bugs
No.
for a whole 1.5 years.
Right.
That's not what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Because here it states, treatment in their part about 1.5 years ago, and that the respondents sent an exterminator, which you said when they did send the exterminator, how long did you say it took them?
2 weeks.
About 2 weeks before they came in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, to treat for bed bugs, is that
Yes, ma'am.
correct? Okay, so, okay, and they have had no additional bed bug problems since.
No, ma'am.
Is that not true?
That's not true.
That's not true. Okay, so you did not tell them this. Okay, thank you. According to the witness, they were aware of his neighbor's bed bug troubles, which occurred during the summer months. It states here May, June, or July. Okay, that's because it started in May, and I don't think that his actually got rectified. You guys actually got fixed up until July. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it shouldn't have been May, June, or it should have probably been May, June, and July. Okay, and the witness alleges that their unit was similarly inspected and treated like Mr. Jackson's. Is that correct? They treated your unit with steam? Because I
Yes,
believe
ma'am.
his was treated with steam. They stated that they had never requested a reasonable accommodation of another pest control option.
I don't remember.
So you have an email.
Yes, ma'am.
What date is that email dated?
October the 13th.
October 13th. Okay. And that is the first time that you asked them, can you please read that email if you don't mind?
It says, please don't spray 307. I have breathing issues. I'm on oxygen.
Okay. And what made you decide to say that, Mr. Moore?
Because the pesticide that they use causes me to have breathing problems,
Mhm.
and I can't breathe, and I have to end up going somewhere else to stay
Okay.
because
Mhm.
I can't breathe.
Okay. Gotcha. Alrighty. That makes sense. So then, therefore, what we would say here, they stated that they have never requested a reasonable combination of another pest control option. I guess that's not true then, because you
No,
did.
it's not true.
So because you have asked for it, but you didn't say make it this type of whatever. You're just saying don't put this in my apartment anymore.
Right.
But you're open to having an alternative, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So then this states, furthermore, according to the same witness, Respondents notify tenants of pest control by posting a note on their doors 2 to 3 days before the scheduled treatment day. Is that always been done?
Yes, ma'am.
You're always given 2 to 3 days?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the last pest control treatment that you all had, I believe it was in October.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct? Either was it October or November?
I think it was October.
Okay, in October. Were you notified by letter?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you, because I believe you said something to me that someone called you and asked you if you were okay with that date. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate on that?
They were not going to do it the exact day on the letter. They were going to do it a different day.
And what did they ask you?
Asked me if it was okay with me.
If it was okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you tell them?
I told them yes. Don't spray.
Don't spray though. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, which one is that?
Or they were going to do an inspection.
Oh, they were going to come do an inspection on your apartment.
Right.
And they were going to, for bed bugs?
Yes.
Okay. What did they tell you why?
Because
Did they tell you that your neighbor's unit was infested again? Okay. According to the witness in a follow-up interview as recent as November the 21st, 2023, were you called on November 21st, 2023 or around about?
Around about.
Okay. They haven't had any bed bug trouble since a year and a half ago and aren't now experiencing bed bug issues. So since a year and a half ago, you haven't had any bed bug troubles? Since a year and a half ago,
Yes, ma'am.
Because you've had them in June.
June.
you have had them before a year and a half ago. Okay. Okay. The witness stated that they requested that no chemical spray be used to treat bugs in their apartment and that no chemical spray has been utilized in their apartment since they requested that it not be used. Nobody has sprayed any chemical spray since October the 13th. Is that true? Okay. But now I want to.
Now, when they spray it outside,
Uh-huh.
I can smell it and it hurts. It affects my breathing.
Oh.
When they do the pesticide spray outside,
Okay. Well, how does that affect your breathing? Does it
it just makes it hard for me to breathe.
hard for you to breathe? Okay.
God, cover me, man.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so that was your questions, according to the investigator, from Texas Workforce Commission, that she stated these were the things that you were asked and what you said, but we clearly just spoke and you just told me you've had bed bugs since, it hadn't been a year and a half. Okay, so, do you have anything you wanna add?
I wish they would stay in the office during holiday weeks
Mm-hmm,
up to the days we get paid or can pay our rent.
mm-hmm.
When I come by the office today, nobody was at the office. And how are we supposed to pay our rent on the 1st? I know the 1st is a Monday, but how are we supposed to pay it if they're not there?
How
They
do
haven't been there. They took off the week of Thanksgiving,
Huh. Uh-huh.
and then they took off the week of Christmas,
A whole week?
a whole week. And then they took off another week of New Year's.
Wow.
And probably take off next week too.
Wow. So in the situation that you're in, Mr. Muehl, because you do use your walker, how do you, because there is no ramp,
It's a little slope in front of the office.
and so you get out, you drive up, you get out of your car, you walk up there, you
Yes,
open the door, and you pay your rent.
Well, yes ma'am, or I drop it in the night spot.
Huh. Have you had any problems before going to handle that?
Usually I go up there and I call and they'll come out and get it from me.
Has there been a time where you called and they didn't come out?
The last month, or in the beginning of December,
Why didn't they come out?
because she said she was busy, Renee said she was busy.
And it made you get out of the car and walk up
Maybe
there.
get out of the car and walk in and pay.
Okay. If you don't mind, do you mind walking for me before we end the video? I
Like
just like to
this?
see, yeah, well, how you get it. You can't walk without it.
I can walk a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want you to fall. I just want to see your gait, just a little bit. I want you to use your walker
I
though.
have a stick that I use when I go up to the door.
Oh, okay.
Let me use your stick, Mr. Jackson.
So you can't walk without that walker or a cane. Though.
Right.
Okay. appreciate you for
Don't make you feel it.
get back to your chair. Don't fall.
My chair is mobile.
So but you most of the time you use your walker usually.
Usually I use my walker, but
Yeah,
if
you
I
need
use
to
my
walk
walker,
out there, I've seen.
when I go to like the grocery store,
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
Mike,
I'll use-
somebody be
Yeah.
looking there.
Yeah.
when I
Okay.
go to the grocery store, I try and use my cane to go in rather than use this.
Right.
Even if I go to Walmart
Mhm.
or if I go to some stores, I try and use my cane.
Mhm.
As long as they got those motorized carts,
Okay.
that's what I use.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, Mr. Muehl, I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to say before
No,
we
ma'am.
end? Appreciate you for taking the time out to speak to us today, and hopefully we can get you some help.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.